Hello everybody, it's Frank. Today I wanted to go over nippers, using them to cut lead cane, and the difference between like wire nippers and regular lead nippers. And I'm going to show you how we can actually do some really harsh miters with some really deep angles to them uh, with the lead nippers. I'm not going to show you as far as using a lead knife. We're just focusing on the nippers today. I'll show you the use of the lead knife in a different video. So what I'm going to do is move the camera, get a little bit better close-up and higher quality there, and show you. Now, of course, working with the lead, wearing my gloves. I'm not worried about lead dust or anything like that, so I'm not wearing any face protection or anything because I'm just using these nippers to cut the lead with, so I'm not getting anything up into the air. So I will be right back. Alright, and one other thing that I want to discuss is how you're cutting against the profile of the cane. Because if you cut wrong, then you're going to end up squishing it. So the proper way to cut is, if you can see there, the channel's up, and you're cutting against it, like so. So you're getting a nice, clean cut. If you instead go like that against the top of the cane, there's what happens. See how it squished it down? So always go into that channel of the cane when you're cutting, and then you get nice, clean cuts like that. Because there's just no way. And if you try to do a really harsh miter like that, there's what would happen. It just will destroy the end of that lead on you. So always cut into that channel like so. Alright, so I'm going to show you the difference between the wire cutters and the lead nippers, and then show you some techniques as far as to use this to cut miters and cut some pretty deep ones too. This was actually cut with the nippers, and I'm going to show you a little trick on how to do that. So your wire cutters look like this. They're a little bit thicker in their blade, and they're actually beveled on both sides. So they come up to a point from both sides. And you'll notice when you compare them to the lead nippers, this is flat on one side and beveled only on one side, and the taper is a lot finer on those. So if you use a pair of wire cutters, here's what happens. Go to cut that, and right there. Hopefully that's showing up really good. It basically, what it does is it compresses out the lead, deforms it, creates a double miter on it, and just pushes it out. So that is no good. That does you no good really at all. So these, avoid them. Okay, that's one of the biggest mistakes beginners will do when they haven't had instruction from somebody firsthand, and they haven't been told the difference really between the nippers. They'll end up getting a pair of these, and they can't figure out why they can't cut the lead right. You know, that's why these aren't intended for that. So now these are made by Fan Out Company. These are Fan Out number 7s. They're made in Japan. Now, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that this is a carbon steel. So I know it's a much better steel than the other cheapy tools that are out there. These last me a long time. Here's what the package looks like. You know, you can put a little bit of oil on them when you store them. Every once in a while if you want to, just a very thin coating. I make sure though when I'm finished with them, they go back into their sheath and then get hung up and put away. So care for your tools and they'll care for you. Now, in regards to cost, you know, I know that many of us are on budgets, been there, done that, so I know the way it works. If you can only afford a $10 pair of lead nippers, it's better than trying to use wire cutters. So go for it, do it, but just remember that you're going to replace them a little more often than what you want to. These are going to run you $45 to $65, depending on where you find them to buy them. And remember, I always say support your local studios, so try to find somebody local if you can to buy your tools from. If there's only a little bit of a price difference, you know, versus going online. You know, the small business people, it's just tough for them, so try to support them when you can. So anyway, these, when you make that same cut, here's what happens. Now look at that. One side nice and flat, perpendicular, and then this one has that beveled edge because that's where it pushed it out and deformed the lead. So this is what you want. These are what you want. Make sure to get those. Now, your common miters, you know, you'll get to a point when you've practiced them that you can just walk up to it and cut it just like that. And there it is. I mean, look at how nice and clean that cut is. You know, so you can do 45s all day long, pretty much without looking at them. You can do a lot harsher, more intense miters too with these. Watch this. Let's take that and go like so. Now look at that. All right, little deformation there, but it's perpendicular. It's got a good angle to it. It's clean. You can take your fid and burnish it a little bit, you know, reshape it. When you solder it up, you're not going to really notice much. But yeah, when it gets in there, you can tool it down if you want to. If you want to do something really crazy, like this, I'll show you a trick. Alright, so you have your heart of your lead. Well, that gets in the way of trying to do something really, really harsh. When you do one like that, see what just happened there? How it pulled it up and deformed it and everything, because it just can't take those pressures. And lead is very malleable, you know, by nature. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's say, and many times, just a little tidbit here, I'll use a horseshoe nail to scribe the lead when it's going to butt up against something and I need to capture the angle. Let's say it's going to go at an angle like that. I'll sit there and have it just like that. I'll have scribed it so you can see the mark there, and then you can come along with your lead nipper and there it is. Look at that. Perfect. And then it would go right up against there, because tight miters are going to help you when you go to solder. Oh, they're going to make a huge, huge difference. Alright, so let's go back to making the really harsh miter. Let's say we want to make a miter just like that one. It's going to be basically like that. Well, actually what you need to do is, there, let's turn that over. You need to come in a little bit farther. There we go. No, basically like that. Here's the trick. You take out the heart up to the point where you're going to cut basically, and you're going to intersect that heart. So what I'm doing is I'm coming into that heart right there, and I'm going to cut it right here. Okay, now that heart's loose. What you can do is literally get a hold of it like that. You don't cut through it, just wiggle it back and forth, and you know, like I say, lead is so malleable, it'll actually come off of there, just like that. See that? Now, let's get that angle. Now what you do is you just come into it like this, and you're cutting one side of the H at a time. You're cutting up and through it, like that, and then you just want to get the angle just exactly the same, perpendicular with the other one. Just like that. There you go, first try. And look at that miter. You know, a lot of times on really harsh miters like this, you'll use a lead knife, which I'll show you a lead knife in a different video, where you go through and you rock it through, and you can get these really, really intense miters. Well, you can really do basically the same thing with the lead knife, or I mean the lead nippers. So I would say honestly, when I'm fabricating a custom piece, 98% of the time I'm using my lead nippers. 99% of the time I'm using them. So you can get, and the heart is still up there, so when you solder through them, and you're not losing structure, it's not like you cut all the way back here and got rid of a whole bunch of heart in there. You haven't done that. It's still right there. So, you know, it's a really good tool to use. Invest in a good pair. Find yourself a good pair, and they will last you a long, long time. And as another side note, you'll notice I have a little container here for all my little cut-offs. I hang on to them, everything, even the little tiny ones, because, you know, we have only one of these little green globes for right now that we're crawling around on. So we got to take care of our Mother Earth a little bit, and let's try to keep that lead out of the landfills. When I get like a 5-pound bucket, not quite full because that's really heavy, but when I get it filled up enough that I'm feeling froggy, I take it to a recycler. So, because I would rather not just get it into a landfill. So anyway, there are the miters. I hope this has answered your questions in regards to the difference between the two. This one, get rid of it. That's not for you. This one, that's the one that you want. So get those. Practice, practice, practice. You'll absolutely love those. I promise you, you will. You just got to jump in there and use them. You'll hear me say this many times. You got to get yourself out of your comfort zone. So if you aren't used to using nippers, well, get used to them. You'll like them. I promise you, you're going to absolutely love them. All right, everybody, I hope that this little tutorial helped you out on the lead nippers, because they are really worth investing in, you know, and having a set. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me, you know, through YouTube. You can put a comment, go to my website, www.creationsbyelder.com, and you can find the contact information there for me. You can email me, Facebook, you know, whatever. I'm here to help. So just let me know if there are any particular videos that you would like to actually have done, areas that you need to have some help with, and put them in the comments on this video, and I'll make sure to do my best to try to get those videos made for you guys, because that's what this whole channel is about. And speaking of which, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. Give this video a like, leave a comment, tell all your friends, please, you know, about it. The more people watching, the more I can, you know, get eyes on what we're doing here, because it's really all for you guys. This is what it's all about. So, again, I hope this has helped you out. You have a wonderful day.